How you doing, everyone? Welcome back to NL Fantasy Analysis. We're going to be updating you on the People's Squad and also the 3 games last night. So, again, we've only used the one trade for the People's team and 107k in the bank remaining. Team's looking really good. So 658 with 6 players remaining and a captain. So we should be getting closer to the 900 or 1,000 mark, depending on how these guys go. So we obviously have a little bit less in terms of money on players here in these ones with Walters, Bully, Nene, and also King. But if we have a big one from Tamalolo, that would be cool. And Payne Haas there would be great as captain to get a 70 there. But yeah, really good picks in the halves. Obviously 83 with Dylan Brown, we'll talk about in a second, and then Curdy Mann. So a couple of our lower ownership players did really well. Pat was good last night. Do we know if many people traded him out? I want to see that stat. But he was good. And obviously bringing in Starling was great and playing Brady Schneider. So yeah, really cool. 658. Let me know how you guys are going this week coming into the last 2 games. And if you think that with, how many players do you think you'll break even? Is it 4 players with Haas as captain to stay at your rank right now? Anything above that, do you reckon you'll go down? I definitely think we'll improve a little bit with the 6 players so far. But anyway, that's that game there. We're going to head to 3 games that are around it. And we started with the Panthers and the Knights. And wow, this was a massive game. So much happening here that I officially blew up in this game, guys. I'm sure a few of you guys saw it in the game day with what happened to Kurt Mann. Ended up having an incredible score, but how bad was the HIA? 5 minutes later, they send him off for a HIA. If you didn't watch this game, he was in a tackle and it swung around, and one of the guys ended up, his leg, basically his shin kicked Kurt in the balls. And he stayed down for a bit. And, the rule at the moment, if they're staying down, then they've got to take them off for a head injury assessment. They looked at it for 5 minutes and still took him off. It was absolutely absurd. Once I calmed down, I realized that he's not going to play 80 minutes anyway. So he's obviously going to be fine. He'll come back and he'll play the rest of the game. So I relaxed a little bit, but I'm sure all of you guys have been through that in some point in your lives watching NRL Fantasy, but watching the games anyway. But Curdy came back and absolutely played incredible. So 45 tackles for 1 miss is not, it's pretty close to what we expected. Around that 40 tackles in a high minute game would be ideal for him, but ran the ball well, got an offload, a turnover tackle. Neither one negative stat was awesome for him. So he turns the corner for us, ends up now with a 49.3. So that's the reason why you'd hold these types of guys that there was reason for why we picked them. They're not a gun that's completely struggling. It takes a game or two to get his price rises pumping again. He had still made 14k across 2 games. So, the 45 and the 30 still made him money. So anything above that, he's going to continue to push further along. So I hope you didn't trade him out if you were thinking about it. But just, again, another lesson learned, guys, with these types of guys. But, Frizz, if you own him from the start of the season, you've done really well. He's almost exceeding, he's exceeding expectations a little bit. I thought he wouldn't be able to do better than what he did last year. But Frizz has been awesome so far with 59. So Stephen Crichton and Isaac Tungo, also Taylor May, we'll talk about the 3 of them together. All of them scored a bunch of tries. And obviously with what happened to Barnett, which we'll speak about a little bit later, there was only 12 players on the field. And this was great for any of the outside backs in the Panthers. Obviously they do score a lot of tries out there in general, but just strip them for numbers a few times. And the skill of these players was on show yesterday. It was absolutely beautiful to watch. Thankfully the rain kind of stayed away for this game and there was plenty of points. So Crichton with the goal kicking it's really helped him, but the meters run for him has been a big step up from what he has done in the past. So he's been great. Not sure if he's going to be a keeper, but averaging 49 across the first 3 games, he's going to be up over 100k in price rises already, which is great. And the majority of people should have him, 47.3% there. And Tungo's the other one at 40% ownership, so it really doesn't matter too much how these guys go because the majority of people that are actually playing seriously own them. But 2 try assists for him. He's special, hey. This kid's special. That in and away he did, and then the little grubber over to Talon. They've obviously played a fair bit together in the junior ranks, but that was a special veteran play. Like someone that'd been in this game for about 10 years would make that play, and he's only had less than about 10 games now. He was special. If you bought in May, you pick up 3 tries and a try assist, so that was awesome. Don't expect it every week, and I imagine a lot of people are going to pick him up coming into round 4, but just don't expect it every week. He was great anyway. Nonetheless, takes away 49. Good for him. Isaiah Yeo, so still played the full game, but just stats were a little bit lower than normal. Less than 40 tackles this time, less than 150 meters. So A bit of a lower game, but averaging 62.3. If you own him, if you're one of the 8.5%, you're still fine with that score. Obviously, you'd like more, but he can't get over 70 every week because that would mean he's in Payne Haas or Cleary territory, and he's never been that type of guy. He's always been a mid-50s guy, so yeah, decent for him. Best was 45. Randall with 38 was solid. He played obviously slightly less minutes than normal. A couple of tackle busts in there in his 21 meters run, so it was fine. But just the tackles at 30 was way less. Ball was in play a lot less with the 58 points. So yeah, fine with Randall. Keep holding on to him. He'll make a bit more cash. He's averaging 47.3. So at that, he's got plenty of cash to make. So just hold tight with Randall. Keep playing him. He'll be fine. Saifidi comes back with 37. He'll lose a little bit of cash. Gagai comes back to life, but still had a nice game. A nice try assist at the start. 20 tackles for 1 miss. Just had less running meters. So he'll be fine. When they come up against some lesser opponents, he'll dominate for sure. O'Sullivan was okay with his 37. Clifford with 37. So this is probably a game, more like what he should be. Every third week, I'd say a 37 would be in his books. He's someone that's has never been an out-and-out keeper in the past, so just be aware of that. Just ran the ball a little bit less, only 13 tackles, 643 meters kicked was great, but that's kind of the majority of the points that he got this week. So yeah, Clifford, just a bit of a lighter one, but still averaging 51.3 if you started with him, so he'll be fine going forward. Leo Thompson, just more and more things go right for this guy. He's actually a really good player. I do like watching him play. 30 tackles for no misses was terrific. A turnover tackle in there. 58 meters, a little bit less, but he's on when they had a little bit less ball, or they're spreading it out to the edges. So well done to Leo. And with Barnett's, what happened to him? Again, we'll talk about at the end. He he gets more and more opportunity. So he's not going to be too expensive after this week. 270 odd, 280. He'll be around. So with that low break even. Still a guy that could make a fair bit of cash, 100k or so from lockout on Monday, so he could be a decent option. Abby Coruscant, this is something I was worried about with him, just with the lower minutes. Obviously played big minutes last week, but he's someone that at 685k, you need him to score in the mid 50s. I can't really talk with what Reed's doing at the moment, so he was solid, but without having to be spectacular. No running meters was weird. But when they had 12 players the most of the game, his goal is just to get it out wide, which is fair. Clooney with 36 was fine. If you own him, he's doing a job. What else we got? Mitch Kenny, 32. Again, we'll keep losing some cash. Tommy Young, still playing decent at all, 31, so he'll make a little bit more. Edwards, just that guy. He's going to be a little bit up and down. Has those weeks where he runs for 300 meters and does everything. A lot of tackle breaks and stuff, and then some when he's down here around that 30 mark. So that's that with him. And then anyone lower, really only Spencer Leniu. Got the minutes we all wanted him to at least get, over 30, and just 14 this round. So 56 meters run just wasn't really a game for him when it was played wide. So that was annoying. But yeah, really, that's just the worry with Spencer. You need more minutes. Like, yes, if he got 40, 45, then you could have there'd be a 10-minute stretch somewhere in that 40 minutes where he'd be able to just run the ball a heap and get a tackle bust or an offload or two. But sometimes, the 32 minutes, you just can't get everything right. Last week it was 50 odd points in the 32. This week it's 14. So just up and down with him. And Barnett, so we speak about that. That was just a massive brain snap, wasn't it? Gives an opportunity for someone to play on the edge. Fitzgibbon will be another few weeks away. So there'll be someone there. There'll be some good minutes through the middle available. So yeah, plenty of opportunities for guys like Leo Thompson, Matt Croker, who actually we should mention him as well. Only the 20 minutes, so it's obviously clear that Leo Thompson is the man ahead of Croker, which we kind of knew anyway. Croker didn't play the first round, so just be aware of that. He's got his 2 games for 60 points, so yeah, Thompson is the man in this one. All right, that's that game, guys. Please hit like, subscribe if you haven't yet. I would appreciate that. So plenty of points scored in these 3 games. The Storm and the Eels. So I had unders in this game, unfortunately, so that last try killed me. But anyway, really excited with how Dylan Brown played. I was able to watch back a lot of that game last night when I got home, but he was special. 36 tackles, which is what we've seen a lot from him for the 1 miss. We had a look at him last year, and as I said when I was reviewing him in the preseason, that just didn't have many try assists in this year in terms of the preseason, and in those especially second and third game, he's looked really strong. The first game was just not played to their liking, but even a couple of kick meters, which was good too, for a couple of points. 126 meters run, 6 tackle breaks, 2 try assists, a line break and line break assist, a couple offloads. He was special. He's now going to average a 57.7, so I wouldn't be expecting 80s every week, but somewhere around the 55 mark would be great. Munster we've been talking about, who's an awesome option, just doing everything on the park. 12 tackle breaks, 180 metres, 22 tackles, a couple of try assists. He was awesome. He's a guy that everyone should be thinking about having in their squad, but it's obviously hard to fit everyone in. Papali'i was 79. He was special as well. So 43 tackles, 5 breaks, a couple of offloads, 158 metres on a line break. He was awesome and showed why he's an absolute superstar, and he's going to average around that 60 mark this year. Brandon Smith came on, a couple of line breaks, a try, just doing everything. So his hand's okay. Don't worry about him. He becomes an option fairly soon, obviously, with the money. He'll lose slightly with a high break even after his low score. So over the next few weeks, he comes into contention as a decent option. Perhaps with 62, so back to some of his best with a try, a bunch of goals. The tackle breaks were there, the run meters were there. So that's what we want to see, is those 200 run meters on a regular basis, and he'll get the tackle busts and the offloads that he needs. So well done to Paps. Welcome back. It's good to have you back, mate. We love you. 47 average in 3 games. Joshy King, Jesus, gets the offload, gets the line break assist, gets the try assist for Brandon Smith. So 65 minutes for him, 55 points. You couldn't have hoped for anything more. Even with 4 missed tackles, the running for 120 meters was great for him. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when Grant's back next week. Brandon Smith goes to 13. Does King still keep a big minute role, or does he hit about 45? I think he's good enough to play, for them to give him a decent minute role. But we'll probably expect 35 odd points from next week onwards. So well done if you picked him up. Some good cash to be made. Unfortunately, haven't done so yet, even though I've been telling people he's a good one. I just couldn't fit him in at that price. So well done if you have him. To Nabolo with 54 in his 58 minutes. He was good as well. Keep holding on to him. He's doing what he needs to these last couple of weeks, especially. Moving down, Gutho was solid. RCG, so Reedy. We'll talk about him. 46. So he even had 2 turnover tackles and still only got 46. So really sad. In a game, I suppose in the end had a fair few points in it. So we're looking for 45 plus tackles and just didn't get that. He's really frustrating, and I can understand why people would look to move him on. I kind of had a thought last night, if he's a potentially a guy that you could look to move on to get Cleary in. That's probably the only way I'd move him on at this stage. Or if you're looking to maybe downgrade to Starling and use that cash elsewhere to get Cleary, that's kind of what I'm thinking. If you're looking to move him on, other than that, it's probably be a hold at this point. Hughesy, a bit of a lower game, but Munster kind of took over this one, which can happen sometimes. But 39, he's still averaging 53, which is cool. Meany with a couple of tries was good. Mitchy Moses, so 33 for him. Even still had the 2 try assists, but the 8 missed tackles just killed him, and the lower running meters. So still able to put on a couple of tries, but just a bit of a lower one for him, and averaging 45, which is a bit annoying, but he should bounce back. I wouldn't be too stressed about Moses. Ali McDonald got 36 minutes, so 24 points for him. Was okay. Again, make it a little bit more cash, but not someone I'd be looking to bring into your squad. And of course, I get another centre in my team that has the lowest score of the game, and that's Will Penasini. 9 points, the poor fella. Hardly got the ball, 67 metres, 4 missed tackles, an error, 13 tackles there. Just a nothing game for him. He'll bounce back, but I've played him this week, and that's a pain in the arse. So averaging 25.7 over the first bunch of games, he's going to start losing a little bit of cash unless he gets a try or 2. So be aware that he hasn't scored any tries yet. Hasn't really assisted. Hasn't much happened for him at all just in base. So this was a low game for him against the Storm. Things will get easier, so I'd be looking to hold him, but I can understand if you're looking to move him on. So that's that game. We move on to the last one, and the Raiders and the Titans. And a few things to think about in this one. Obviously, if you picked up Bowie for more, you got a try assist and a try this week, so they like going down that left. That's all I can say. 61 for him. Well done to the 4% of teams that own him. You guys that continue to own him will be at the top of the rankings for sure, going across the next bunch of weeks. Tino with 62. Fodawaker with 60. So good work for both of those guys. Not really. Actually, Tino's fairly highly owned, 10%. So I haven't seen him in a lot of the top teams, which makes sense. He's been averaging low 40s, but he'll start to make a bit of cash now. So well done if you picked him up. You've done well. Mo's not really owned too much, so we won't talk about him. But Starling with 56, they ended up coming off the bench. They started Frawley, which was really strange. But it worked out for him in the end. They eventually got the win, sneakily. So, a line break for him. 21 tackles, but, no negatives for him, which was perfect. So, if he can get some more minutes, which we'll see what happens with Starling going forward, he still has scored well in a 55-minute effort. So if you haven't owned him, if you didn't pick him up, he's still only owned by 7%, then yeah, you can look to do it in the next few weeks. But yeah, if he keeps getting 55s, for example, he's going to be in the 500s really quickly. How good Schneider? 2 tries, this 100 meters run, obviously a little bit of kicking, the goals, the turnover tackles, the line breaks. He's special for a youngster, so I can see why they brought him in over Frawley or over Sam Williams, for example. So he's been great. They've obviously won the 2 games. They won the 2 games that he's played and got smashed against my Cowboys last week. So well done to them. Both really good guys. If you played both of them, awesome. Owned by a big percentage. Starling with 7. So well done to Schneids. Keep playing him. For Feeder, he was on really low score until the end. Got a couple of line breaks. More run meters this time, thankfully. But just, not hitting the heights that you would have liked. He's going to start losing some cash now with another 47 when you want him to be hitting 60. So what would you do with him? It's still probably a hold, but definitely I can understand why you'd look to move him on if there's better options, or you like to use him to go to Cleary, for example. I completely understand. Tomoko with 45, so again, the up and down scoring, but he's a talent for sure. Sexton with 44, so owned by 4% of teams, nothing crazy, but he ends up with an average of 50 now over the first 3 weeks, which is pretty solid compared to what he's priced at. So I wouldn't be stressing about him. He was on 37 at half time, so yeah, someone that obviously they didn't play as well the second half after all their tries they scored. So 12 in negatives is not terrible, but yeah, the run meters you'd like to be a little bit higher. And if they play better in the second half, he probably picks up a 60 or 70. So don't worry about him. Whiten was solid without being spectacular. Chance, he got a try saver, so 34 if you hold on to him, but I still think he's probably a sell because he's not going to be a keeper. Brimson was solid, again, with a try assist, but not many people own him, or 4%. So, I just don't think he's an option at this point. Maybe a little bit later in the season. CHM was fairly low. Campbell was pretty low. He's starting to hemorrhage cash, so if you own him, I'd be moving him on. I just don't think he's going to be a keeper anytime soon. Maybe at the back end of the year, but not right now. Just doesn't have the base, unfortunately, to be that kind of player. Greg Marzu, after his special game last week, only at 11. So nothing much for him. Will Smith off the bench now. He becomes closer to a sell, but at that price, it's a bit annoying. Obviously had the lower break even, but his break even will pop up now. Another low game from Paddy Herbert. So that's that. He's averaging 14.3. They're the 3 games, guys. I hope you enjoyed that review and you got a few answers from the guys that you'd be looking for. Good luck with your teams on this Sunday. 2 games to go. As I said at the start, let me know where you're at and what you expect to be ranking by the end of the day. So, I hope you enjoyed that. I'll catch you in the next one, guys. See you later.